February 7th, 2017, and the name of this video is called The Reason Obama Didn't Warn Us About Fukushima. Now, he gave a speech in the Rose Garden after the disaster, and notice the date that he gave it, because I think it coincides to the reasons why he didn't warn us. March 17th, 2011. That's 6 days after the meltdowns. Now, the real reason why he said don't take precautionary measures, it's because he doesn't care about any of the citizens. Now, all he really cared about was the stocks, the energy stocks of the nuclear stocks that are in his stock funds. I hate to say this, but I think the only reason why he did this was so that he could save the money on his stock funds. And I'll show you why I say that. The president is required by law to disclose his personal finances annually. And as you can see, he's a very rich man. Now, the categories that they list have got to be minimums and maximums, and depending how he files, he is either minimally worth $853,000 or a maximum of $6.5 million. Now, what I wanted to show you, which is very important, are his assets. His assets are between $100,000 and $250,000 in this Vanguard Institute index fund, retirement fund. It looks like he's got 3 of them as assets, and his income, this must be the interest that he's making off of them, between $15,000 and $50,000. Now, just remember this Vanguard index fund, this Vanguard 500 index fund. What I find very interesting also are his transactions of this Vanguard 500 index. Now, he's selling it on December 15th, and then he's buying on the same day. He's selling another one, Vanguard 500 index, that's this one. He's selling them both on the 15th, and then he's buying this Vanguard Institute index retirement on the same day. I may be wrong, but I personally believe that the reason why he did not tell us and warn us the second day they melted down after the earthquakes was because he didn't want the markets to lose money. And in the end, he did it because he's greedy, just like a lot of other people are. But the ramifications of us not warning us and telling us to do nothing are huge. Now, here's an article that's all the president's money, where the Obamas invested, 2010. Now, this is before Fukushima. This was updated in May, but this is about where their investments were. And if you look over here, it states the first couple also owned plenty of stocks, relying almost entirely on the Vanguard Index 500 mutual fund. Now, this article states about President Obama's financial portfolio, written in May 30th, 2011. Now, this is where I find it interesting. The Vanguard 500 Index Fund. According to President Obama's financial disclosure form, he has between $50,000 and $100,000 in this fund, which is listed as a mutual fund residing in a retirement account. In the past 2 years alone, this fund has added an impressive 52% to its value. Not bad, but I find this hilarious. The bottom line: while most public officials put their money into blind trusts where they can't readily access it or control how it's invested, the Obamas prefer complete transparency. They don't invest in individual stocks that would cause conflicts of interest. Instead, they prefer government debt and diversified funds. This transparency is the main word. Now, the Vanguard Energy Fund, here's their holdings. Here's their top holdings. It's basically all energy stocks. And this is how their sector weighs in. 97% of the stocks have got to do with energy. So Fukushima was a big deal. If the truth was let out of the bag early at Fukushima, I think the nuclear stocks in these funds would have tanked. And I think that's the real reason why he didn't tell anybody when he should have. Now here is the prospectus and summary of the Vanguard Energy Fund. Let me find nuclear. Right there. Although each advisor uses a different process to select securities for its portion of the fund's assets, it says these areas may involve newer energy sources such as geothermal, nuclear, solar power, as well as more traditional sources of energy, oil, natural gas, and coal. They're all about the nuclear in this Vanguard fund, and I think it would have destroyed it if it was told earlier how bad it was at Fukushima. That's why they're kind of like masking the truth, because all these stocks would have taken hits. And you know what that means? Loss of money, loss of revenue. Site of TEPCO, the Tokyo Electric Power Company. Now, this is right off their website. They say the number of shares authorized is 14 billion shares. You know who holds most of them out of the major shareholders? Is the Nuclear Damage Compensation and Decommissioning Facilitation Corporation. They own 54% of the stocks. They're the major shareholder. They're the majority right there. To this article, it says TEPCO stock in crash mode after nationalization report. The shares of Tokyo Electric Power Company again took a dive of almost 15% on Tuesday following rumors of a government report on a potential nationalization of the power company. Since the earthquake and tsunami struck the nuclear power plants in Fukushima, TEPCO lost nearly 75% of its value. Gives the speech. This is March 22nd. It says the Nikkei 225 jumps 4% after a long weekend. Investors draw confidence from reports that Tokyo Electric Power Company, TEPCO, is making progress in the Fukushima nuclear plant. The share of the operator of the nuclear power plant climbs 15%. They knew full well right then that it was getting worse and everything melted down. Lies. It's all lies. The Yahoo stock page that shows TEPCO, that's in the blue here. This green is the Vanguard fund. Now, right here is the beginning. That's February 11th, 2011. February 1st. Now, the meltdowns occurred in March. So we can't, this is like one whole month's worth of graphs over here. So I can't zoom in. But immediately after the tsunami hit and the earthquake and those meltdowns, TEPCO's stock crashed. You could see it. It's crashing, right? And here's all the activity. This is the volume. So it means everybody's freaking out and selling off. So here it crashes, TEPCO stock. But look what happens to the Vanguard fund. It goes up, and it keeps going up. It's as if it's not fazed by this meltdown, because they're covering up information that would have done to that Vanguard stock, just like what it did to the TEPCO stock. Now here are the holdings again on another website. Now, as you could see, this is what it was before the crash. And look it's like a lead balloon, straight down. It's hard to get, like when you're looking up this stuff, it goes to 5 years, but it's hard to get it to 6 years. I want to get this little area right in here zoomed in, but I'm going with maximums to show it all because it's hard to find these stocks that show you like that intense, in-depth reporting on it. So this is about as far as I can get, but you could see with your own eyes, right after that earthquake hit, TEPCO dropped. From an article that was talking about the analysis of Obama's signature. And I'll show you later. I think there is something a little fishy about it. But I think this is interesting, the last sentence. The capital letters in his signature indicate a need to communicate thoughts, but the illegible part of the handwriting suggests a need for secrecy. Very interesting. With the very first year of his public financial disclosure report, this is 2010, and by the way, his very last one I don't think was released. I could be wrong on that. But if you look at the what he checks off for his assets and incomes, right here is the Vanguard 500 index. Right here and right here. This is his own filings right here. His very first one, 2010. There's 11, 12, 13, 14, there's 15. Okay, we got 6 of them. Now what I'm saying about his signature, now imagine you don't know who Barack Obama is. And just look at the signature in here and let me know if you could seriously read what this says. I wouldn't be able to make this out for nothing. I could see there's a B and there's an O. Other than that, it looks like a bunch of scribbles to me. So I digress. Now, the most important one, I think, is this very first one. Now, a lot of these other signatures, like this is a normal signature. I could see that's Heather. You try to tell me what this one says. You try to tell me what this one reads. Maybe Fox. There's a couple of them like that. This one right over here. What the heck is that? But what I did is see how Barack Obama on the top ones, this is Barack Obama. Now this one, it says signature of reporting individual. That's Barack. Over here, it says signature of other reviewer, Heather. Over here, it says signature of designated agency ethics official reviewing official. This is what's shady right here. Is this signature right over here? Can you tell me what the name of that person is? No, you can't. And I'm going to tell you why. I think Barack Obama did this. And you know why? When he writes the dates, look at his numbers. Right here is a very important one. It's the 5. Look at the 5 over here. Look at his 5 over there. Then over here, look at the 4s. See how the 4 over here is like this? He's got no consistency. This almost looks like it could be him. Then he writes out May. Okay, you could look at all this stuff yourself, but what I'm trying to show you is I believe Barack Obama wrote this line and put this in. And I think the reason why I think Barack Obama put the signature of the reviewing official is him, because I think he screwed up. Look at the date, 5/16/11, 5/14/11. put these next to each other. This is Obama's signature. Now look at this line that he puts in here. See that line? Now look at this. Look at the curves and the motion of this signature. See how it's almost kind of like the same? But not only that, I think this is my proof here. The 14th is definitely Barack's, because that's in it. That's in the line. But the reason why I say the one that signed on the 16th is his also, look at the slashes. Look at this slash. Look at his slash. Look at this slash. They're at the same angles, but what gives away is the 5. To me, this looks like the same person. Just look at the 5. To me, they look the same. I don't know, call me crazy, but I think that Barack Obama is the same person as the signature of designated agency ethics official. It figures that he would be in charge of the ethics. I think he is the signature of this reviewing official. Look at how this person's 5 is so different, and then this is 5 is so different. But when you take those two, to me, that's why I'm trying to find that 6 that Obama did. And actually, I'm sorry, I just found it as we were speaking here. Here's Obama's 6 right here. And let's see the 6 of this mysterious signature. And now isn't it weird too that I'm just noticing this right now? Look at the shade of the black on these 3 signatures are the same, although they did do it on a separate day. I just think that's very, very bizarre too, that this one would be darker than the other 3. But let's try to get this 6 in there and compare it to Obama's 6, because to me they almost look the same. Okay, here's the so-called phantom signature, and I'm saying that's Obama's 6 because I'm saying he's the same person as this. But here is Obama's 6. Does this one look similar to that one? And actually what's weird too, this 6 here almost looks like the same one there too. And of course, this is a DA and squiggle and R squiggle. And look at this signature. It's a joke. It's a total joke. When you write your signature, do you do this on purpose so it's illegible? Makes no sense to me whatsoever, unless they're trying to cover something up. And he already did cover up Fukushima, so why not cover up his public financial disclosure reports? Nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing surprises me. It's kind of weird too with this graying. So there you go. For some reason, I think that there's something going on with why he chose not to tell America to don't take precautionary measures, because it all comes down to money. He didn't want his stocks to suffer. So if he prevents the nuclear stocks and the Vanguard stocks to not take a dive, that means he makes money while we suffer the consequences of his greed. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this. To me, it seems shady. The illegibility of signatures and just stuff that's going on in these forms over here. I also want to point out the ones in the year. Now notice the 4 different separate signatures, what they're supposed to be separate people. Now notice how it goes to the right. This one stands up. This one goes to the right. This one stands up. Now look at in between the days and months. This one's an easy one. They use dashes. Look at this one. Everyone is so unique until you start comparing the 2 signatures here, Obama's and this phantom signature. All right, now if you go with the close-up on these, remember Obama's, here's the pseudo one. Now look at the separation of the month and days in this one, the angles. Compare the 2 angles here, compare the 2 angles here, and now compare the year, 11. Don't these look similar? As opposed to if you look at the other signatures, they're dissimilar. I believe this is the same person that wrote these 2 separate dates. All right, this is going to be the last one because every time I look at this stuff, I keep finding more stuff. Now, here's the 2010 signature. Here's the pseudo 2010 one. Notice, isn't it interesting how Obama puts this long leg or whip on the end of his signature? And it's kind of like the same thing they do to this pseudo one. See how similar it is? And actually look at the end of it. The tip of it. See how it almost comes when he's done. He brings it over, but it's not so long over here. But as opposed to this is the 2014 signature, and see how it comes out and brings it up a little bit more. Isn't it kind of weird that that's how the end of the pseudo signature is also? I just find it very coincidental. I think this is the same person.